Mark from Darwin, Lancashire, writes in and says, "Hi, Dutch and James. I know you've talked about Roy Ferris, Honky Tonk Man, in the past, but not sure if the blow has ever been discussed. I was watching an old interview with Honky Tonk Man. He mentions all wrestlers he teamed up with, and he brought up your good self, Dutch. And you and he were tag team champions in Puerto Rico for a year. As someone who only really knows Roy as Honky, did it seem like an odd team up? Just interested to hear your thoughts on Honky. Was he Roy Wayne Ferris still at the time? Was he Wayne Ferris at the time?
He was Danny Ferris. No, he was Danny Condrey. Because I was originally going down there with Dennis Condrey, and Dennis couldn't go for some reason, and we were looking for a replacement. And I had been talking to Wayne, and I asked him. I said, "You want to go and take Danny's place, or whoever place he was taking, Condrey's place?" And he said, "Yeah." So I substituted him, and they just changed his name, like to make everybody think that it was still a Condrey. He was Danny Condrey when he went down there, and it was an odd pairing, a cowboy and somebody with a gimmick like Wayne had.
What
But
was his gimmick at the time then when he went down?
he
Was he
had the
blonde?
blonde hair. Oh yeah, same the blonde. He was the same as he was before, and I was down there with the bullwhip and cowboy. But what was a cowboy doing with a character like that? We did okay. We used to go to Trinidad. You know where Trinidad is?
Yeah.
Trinidad is off the coast of South America. I think off the coast of Venezuela, basically, somewhere in there. And I have never been in a hotter place in my life. You could go out and sit by the pool. You wouldn't sit there long, not in the sun, because it would be like 100 degrees, but the sun was so intense. And I asked somebody, I said, why is it so hot here? They said, well, you're almost right on top of the equator. I didn't know that. Well, I knew it then. But brother, you get in some of those dressing rooms down there, they didn't have air conditioning, and it was hot. And you go out to the ring, even at nighttime. They had a lot of nighttime shows, and you would go out there, and I mean, you would break a sweat right as soon as you walked out the dressing room door. So, and a lot of crazy people down in Trinidad. They would throw bottles, and they would throw rocks, and they would throw everything else. So when you went to the ring, you went in defense mode, and you're wrestling, and this is when you're locking up with a guy, you're looking like this, and you're looking like that, and seeing who was getting ready to throw something, because it would just fill the ring up. One night, I just left the ring. We were supposed to go like 12 minutes. I said, F it. I left after 6, because here come the stuff. I call it like the Caribbean air parade or something. Here it come through the flying. I left after 6 minutes. And the next day, my opponent asked me, why did you leave? I said, well, I didn't want to get hit in the head with something and knocked out. I said, were they throwing anything at you? He said, no. I said, exactly. So that's why I left. And nobody ever said anything. I wasn't going to stand there and them just use me as target practice. Screw that. So I left.
What did Honky make of it all? Because I don't think he ever went back.
No, he never went back. No, it was too rough. It was too rough. I mean, Puerto Rico had it was just a rough crowd. If you didn't have the proper security there, they just took that, and guys used to come in, little kids, and they would sell rocks for a nickel. They would come in there with a box of rocks, and how much? Oh, a nickel. Oh, give me 10. And give the kid 50 cents, and you got 10 rocks to throw. I mean, that was their game that night, not to actually see the wrestling, but see if they could hit a wrestler. Oh man, and you'd have bottles flying. When you take a Coke cup and drink the Coke out, and you just got ice in it, and you pack it down, that's quite a thing to throw. And if you get hit in the head with it could knock you out. So very, 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 very dangerous to go out there. When we would do the stadium shows, the fans would get on top of the dugout and wait for us to come out. So the worst thing you could do is walk out and give them like almost a stationary target. As soon as they hit that, well, we didn't have music then, but as soon as I would let the opponents get in the ring, then all of a sudden it's time for us to go, and I'd wait and I'd wait and I'd wait, and they were all up like getting ready to throw. And soon as, and if I had a partner like Wayne, I'd tell him to go one way and I'd go the other way. So if we were together, they could aim at the mass and just hit one of us. And so we would run out, and I would meet him at second base. It'd be a baseball stadium. I'd meet him at second base. One time I actually slid into the base and he got up and went, safe. And oh, they didn't like that with the crowd. So, and then we went in and did the match. I have never been a babyface making a comeback on me. And I was actually getting beat up and looked like I was backing him up, because I put his back to the crowd and he was hitting me and I'm going forward, and I got to the dugout. So if they threw something, they were going to hit him, or maybe it would hit him instead of me. I didn't tell him that though, but I made it back safely. But it was really a dangerous thing. Now, when I first went to Puerto Rico, they put the main event on fourth, which I thought was the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So one day I asked Carlos, I said, Carlos, why do you put the main event on fourth? And he says, well, they drink like fish. So we want to get the main event over and done with and out of the way before they have a chance to really get hammered. Which then when I found out about that, I thought he was the smartest son of a bitch in the world. That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. So one night we did in the stadium show, in a arena show, we went on last. My God, they were hammered to the gills. And we had to actually have 6 or 8 cops take us to the ring. And they were drunk at this time. They were punching through the cops. And so we got in the ring, and it was like a razors around the ring, but they never got it up because all of a sudden they had an athletic commission come out for some reason, say, oh, you can't do that. It's too dangerous. So we had it without the razor wire, and we finished the match. We got beat, but still the people tried to kill us on the way back. And shows in Puerto Rico run long anyway. It was 12:30 by the time we got back to the dressing room. Guess what time we left?
Go on.
About 2:45. Because they kept waiting and kept waiting and kept waiting. Finally, a cop come in. He said, guys, hey, I'm on overtime right now. I can't wait anymore. I got to go home. So he left about 2:00. And when we went out, they were still there waiting on us. I thought to myself, don't you people have to go home or do something? Why are you waiting for us? And here come the rocks, and here come this. Not a lot, because there wasn't that many there. But they waited on us for like, I don't know, almost 3 hours. And I said, stupid bastards. But we got out of there. Now, if we'd have got out of there, and then if we'd have had some flat tires, that would have been the end of it. They would have gotten us.